Hey there, welcome to Bent TV. I'm Melis, and tonight we're bringing you more stories from the GLBTIQ world. We're starting out with some Sammi action, who's bringing us an insight into community groups. Let's get informed with In the Thick of It now.
Welcome to Bent TV. You are in the thick of it with Sammi today, and we are discussing setting up new LGBTI support groups through different genres, whether it be through sports, trivia, and including in the arts. And I'm joined today by a great panel. We have with us Jessie Ward, Michelle Shanti, and Tex McKenzie. Welcome to Bent.
Thank you. Thanks, Sammi.
Now, firstly, Michelle, you are involved in setting up a great new group in the Mornington-Frankston area called LGBTIQ Creative Art Connection. Tell us a little bit about where that came about.
Okay, it came about from my own personal experiences with coming out and the different programs and projects, I guess, that I was actually involved with. I found that art was actually a pivotal sort of thing in my coming out and just sort of experiences. And
that's a great way of being able to provide support through a different area. Now, Tex, you have been with the Victorian AIDS Council Gay Men's Health Centre for over 19 years now, working as a health worker with outreach, and have assisted in support and setting up of many different community groups throughout the years.
Look, Sammi, that's very true, and I've been involved in being a member of groups and also in helping to set up groups, but I think more importantly the organisation itself, the Victorian AIDS Council Gay Men's Health Centre, through its staff and its volunteers, have been instrumental in helping some of the fledgling groups just find their feet. Like some of the organisations I can readily think of, things like Vintage Men, which has been going forever and a day, which people said might die out really quickly because all of these old men, who's going to replace them? Well, of course, there are new people always, and
I'm sure the vintage men will never die.
Vintage men,
I know a few vintage men, and
vintage men will never die because there are always new men coming along and taking over and taking on roles within the group. But the group started up the idea of one person who was a worker at the Victorian AIDS Council at the time, and he was looking at a support group. He thought, how do I put it together? This was pre-internet, pre-World Wide Web, so yes, it's that old. And it was finding like-minded people. So at that time, HIV was still very much flavour of the moment. Yep. So there were lots of people coming together, lots of volunteers coming together, as well as staff, to form this organisation and to keep the organisation going. But there were a lot of people who didn't have a home. And I'd suggest it's probably the same in the Mornington and Frankston area, that there are a heck of a lot of gay and lesbian people, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, intersex, queer, questioning, allied communities, everybody in the rainbow flag community, who are down there and are not connected. And this seems like a really great way to connect people together, especially through the arts, because it's naming something and getting people to come in around that particular idea. And of course, we know through the centuries that gay and lesbian people have been very artistic people. I mean, I think of Gertrude Stein, for example, back in the USA.
Leonardo da Vinci and
Leonardo da Vinci
others.
And all sorts of people who are gay and lesbian people, who were arty type people. And bringing people together like this seems like a really good idea, having a hook to get people involved, because it may spread beyond the arts community just by bringing people from the Mornington Peninsula area together.
That's right. Now, well, you, Jessie, have been involved with setting up and being involved with many community groups over the years, but one that I find very interesting, it's a bit dear to my heart, is I'm a bit of a trivia buff. So tell us a little bit about that community group that you're involved with.
I'm involved with two community groups in the gay and lesbian community at the moment, the GLBTIQ, etc. community at the moment, and they're both fledgling. They're both still growing. In this, numbers for community groups are sometimes maybe it's a you know, I think we still do need gay and lesbian community groups. Because there's still a lot of heterosexism in our wider community, and so you tend to feel a bit isolated in some workplaces or in the wider community. It might be a bit hard to talk about your boyfriend/girlfriend and stuff like that, and perhaps share in the way that you would like to. So I think gay and lesbian community groups are still needed, but my experience is that well, I'm having there's some number issues at the moment, and probably I think there's important skills involved in maintaining a community group, and they do take a bit of time, and those volunteer skills that Tex was talking about before are really pertinent here to making a success of your gay and lesbian community group, and those are the sorts of things I've been thinking about since Steve contacted me to come on and be a panellist here.
Do you think that one thing that we have to look at is when we are setting up community groups and getting them off the ground, and as you said, Tex, with having a group specialised with the arts or having a group specialised with a different area, say trivia or a sports group, it gives people the opportunity to express themselves within members of the community and find that support as well?
Oh, look, indeed. And part of it is getting the word out. Now, you've been actually quite successful in sending out an email, which you have found, as we were discussing before the show. I said, well, of course, a Facebook page can be really handy, although there are some privacy concerns for some people with their names being associated with a particular group. But sending out an email, sending out the news of a Facebook group, coming on to organisations like Bent TV and of course Joy 94.9 and recording a community service announcement, that gets your message out immediately. Finding somewhere to meet, a safe space where people are, where it's not going to be too glaringly obvious. I mean, there are some groups which will decide, well, let's meet in the back room of a cafe because that's a nice neutral spot, but there are also city councils have meeting rooms. There may be a library that has a meeting room attached to it, or somewhere within a city council itself, establishing somewhere safe where people can more or less anonymously turn up and form that nucleus of what the group will be. And eventually it gets to things like deciding who's going to lead the group and what you're going to do with any money that's raised. And then eventually, a long time down the track, it can be where an organisation becomes an incorporated body. And of course, there are all sorts of rules and regulations you have to follow. But I think for this particular group, it's just getting it settled, getting a few interested people together and finding out, as it is based in the arts, what areas of art they explore, whether it's painting or sculpture or music or words, whatever. And finding like-minded people who will work together, and already when they come together, they will be somewhere from within that rainbow community, whatever letter they identify with inside that, and just seeing how the group wants to proceed, seeing where people want to do, how they want to express themselves.
Well, we have so much more to discuss, and the next time we catch up in the thick of it with Sammi, we might have a little bit of a delve further into the importance of setting up community groups. Jessie, Michelle and Tex, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks to the lovely Sammi for that. If you want to get in touch about anything you've seen on Bent, send us an email on feedback@benttv.org.au, and we'll be coming back shortly with more. Here on Bent, we like to bring you the Bent take on things, and our next segment is a prime example. I'm always keen to see Q Sports with Malcolm, as I'm hoping one day he'll be coming to us live from the locker room. Here's the Q Sports kickoff now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Q Sports. I'm your host Malcolm Campbell, and tonight on Q Sports we have an Antwerp flavour for the third World Outgames, and our main guest tonight is Stuart Kollmorgen from FrontRunners. Hello Stuart.
Hello Malcolm, thank you for having me on.
That's all right, and additional guests TJ from Ace Girls Tennis and Loraine Little from Melbourne Spikers.
Hi Malcolm.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hello. Stuart, now you're a front runner, so tell us a bit about the Melbourne front runners.
Okay, so the Melbourne FrontRunners is a distance running group and walking group that's been going for about 15 years.
Yes.
We meet at the Tan, at top of the Tan at the Botanical Cafe area, and it's a very social group, but also if you want to push out your endurance running, it's a great way to get fit.
Good. And Melbourne FrontRunners are going to Antwerp?
Yes, they are. As usual, we'll be going in numbers. Many of us compete on the track in the track and field program, also in the running program. So in Antwerp, they're two quite separate events.
Yes, so there'll be a track and field program and a road running or cross country program?
No, it's a road program.
Yes.
There's a 5 kilometre and a 10 kilometre race, and you need to choose between them. And there's a track program with a lot of distances. Most of us will be doing the more distance-oriented events from 800 metres up to 5,000, but some people will be doing the sprints.
I also heard there was a half marathon.
Yes, there is a half marathon for those who can push it out that far, and I'm sure you're one of them.
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be competing with you, Stuart, actually.
Yes, we won't say what age group that we're in, but we are in the same age group, perhaps at different ends of the spectrum, so there'll be some head-to-head clashes on the track.
Yeah, actually, for the first time there, viewers, we're actually in the same age group competing against each other. Stuart's a little older than me, and often he's in a different age group, but this time we're in the same one. So there's going to be some battles for the podium, I think.
So at FrontRunners, Stuart, the breakfast is very, very famous afterwards. And so are there any breakfast plans for Antwerp?
Well, actually, the scene at an Outgames, for those of you who've been there, I know Loraine, TJ and Malcolm, you've been to a number yourselves, it's very social. A lot of us, look at the demographic that we're in, a lot of us have been to quite a few of the Outgames and Gay Games, and we know the other people, so we intend to have a great time. So TJ, absolutely.
There'll be breakfast,
lunch, dinner, drinks, bars, clubs.
There actually will be one extra event that we'll all be looking forward to, actually. It's the Australian Ambassadors reception to the Australian athletes. So that will be held on the Sunday, the 4th of August, and hosted by the Australian Ambassador to Belgium. He's also the Ambassador to Luxembourg, the Netherlands and the European Union, because that's based in Brussels.
It's a great buzz for us as visiting athletes and participants to actually attend an Australian ambassadorial residence and really feel like we are on the continent representing the country.
It makes us feel like we are representing the country and that we're doing our country proud.
Yes.
Because hopefully we'll be in uniforms, and that will be a first for Team Melbourne, where we'll have the matching top that all the sports can wear at the opening ceremony and at the Ambassador's reception, yes.
In fact, I'm wearing my uniform from 2002 Sydney.
Oh, top quality.
Yeah, very good, very good.
And the great thing about the uniforms as well is that you really must order two so that you can swap one at the closing ceremony for the uniforms of other countries' athletes.
Yes, that's right, because they're a big ticket item. I know the Americans like to swap pins, but we like to swap uniforms. It's like after a soccer match, you know, they all take their shirts off and swap. Yeah, good. Now, Stuart, tell me about the events that you'll be participating in individually, please.
Okay, so I've registered in a new event which I've never done before, which is Petanque, because I enjoy playing lawn bowls here, and that's the European version. So I've got a couple of teammates for that. I'll also be competing in I'm not going to tell you which of the 5 or 10, because then you'll choose the one that I'm in.
You already told me.
But on the track, I'll be doing all the events from 1,500 up to 5,000 metres, including the steeplechase and my signature event, the race walk.
Yeah. Stuart, for viewers out there, is the best gay walker in the world. He started about 10 years ago.
I didn't know that was a competition, Best Gay Walk.
Yeah, he is, because Loraine, he chose an event that he thought he could win, and he was injured at the time, and he's gone on strength to strength.
So do both you guys take an extra little suitcase for all your medals when you come back?
No.
Excess baggage?
No.
Uniform changes, on the other hand, because Malcolm plays a number of sports, including swimming, rowing, triathlon. Yes, it's a big event.
It's not about me, it's about all of you tonight, especially you, Stuart. So the walk and the 15, the steeple, the 5, and are you doing one on the road too? I think it's the 10.
I'm doing one of those, I won't tell you which, but also the Aussie 4x4 team that we had at the last games, I'm hoping comes back for a repeat gold. Yes. That was a great day.
That was good. That was a really good effort. Now, Stuart, with Antwerp, it's the European sport capital, but it's very close to other cities. Are you spending some time in Europe after the Games?
In fact, I'm arriving in London I'm having a couple of days there, and then I'm heading across on the Eurostar to Antwerp via Brussels. I think that's the best way to get there.
Absolutely.
And it's very close to a number of other cities, Paris, Bruges.
It's an hour and a half by train from Amsterdam. There's a 35-minute train from Brussels Airport. 3 hours from London, 2 hours from Paris. So, you know, and that's all by train. So lots of really good options to get into the city itself, arriving at the gorgeous central station.
And it's really incredibly social. I remember one of the games that I attended, Copenhagen, people arrived by train and you could tell who the athletes were, and people knew each other before they even arrived. It was a really, really fantastic environment.
And there'll be opening and closing ceremonies as well, Stuart. You're looking forward to those?
Lots of glitter, lots of stars. Yeah, terrific ceremonies. I remember back to Chicago. I remember Copenhagen in the main square.
It rained then, but we didn't care.
No, we didn't care. Even Melbourne, we had our Welcome to Country, and we had a terrific event at the town hall.
Well, equally in Antwerp, it's going to be an outdoor event, the opening, in the largest main square of Antwerp. So it's a really great kind of signature event that places us in the heart of the city. We're not hiding away anywhere.
Well, the Belgians, the Antwerpians, do you call them, or what do you call them? Yeah, they will be welcoming us because this will be a main event for them in their city, and we will be proud guests and they'll be proud hosts because we will bring a lot to their city for that time.
The amount of gay visibility at the time of those big world signature events is quite amazing. I still remember in Amsterdam being on a tram in the middle of the day, and the tram was chock full with gay and lesbian athletes singing Viva la Diva, which had just won the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, well, that's terrific. Well, thank you for your additional comments, Loraine and TJ, and thank you, Stuart, for being our guest tonight on Q Sports. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Q Sports. I'm your host, Malcolm Campbell.
Thanks to our sport master, Malcolm. Don't touch that remote, we'll be right back. You're tuned to Bent TV, and Ginny is about to take us back into her world, and I can't wait to see what she's got for us this week. Over to you, Ginny.
Hey, this is Ginny back on Bent TV, entirely powered by Ginny again today, and I'm joined by two other cast members of C.E.S. Cinderella Emulation Syndrome, Epic Syndrome, Esculation Syndrome. Why don't you correct me? Am I right, guys?
I just want you to dive in it.
You're like, let's just let her go with it.
Let's let her go with this. Let's see what she comes up with.
C.E.S. stands for Cinderella
Emulation
Syndrome. There you go. I will remember that from now on.
Sure.
Now I'm joined by two of the cast members, Sheri and Michelle. Now guys, we spoke to Elle Bates and Bella, who is the lead actress Cinderella just before. And tell me about you guys. What's your role in the film?
You can take the lead on this one. Well, I play Cinderella's fairy godmother and her therapist as well.
Fairy godmother and therapist?
Yes.
Did you have many wardrobe changes in between that?
Yep, I did. Wardrobe was a nightmare.
Did you have a wand?
It wasn't my colour. I did have a wand.
You had a wand?
It was the raddest wand ever.
Because I love wands.
Yeah,
like
I'm all about a wand. It was a Harry Potter wand? It was a Harry Potter wand. I'm also all about Harry Potter.
You're down with the pots.
I'm down with the pots.
And speaking of the pots and acting and all that, you're actually new to acting.
Yeah, like...
How did you find it?
Just came out new.
Came out new. Yeah, coming out, it's a big thing. Now, you've had a bit of stage fright, I read, too, somewhere, that you're actually a pretty shy person when it comes to performing in front of people.
Yep.
Are you shy now?
Right now, I'm shaking and sweating and my hands are clammy.
It's all good. You can hold my hand if you want, Sheri.
But it's clammy.
Okay, it's good. Maybe keep it to yourself then. But, so, you know, so that's a pretty brave thing that you did. You went out there kind of, you know, performed in front of a camera. Now you're talking with me in front of potentially three people, being my mum and two aunties, but that's all good. So tell me, like, what made you take that plunge?
I've always wanted to be an actress. And I used to do a little bit of theatre when I was young.
Yeah.
So I love performing, and despite my severe anxiety and stage fright, I just forced myself to do it. And it was a real big learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Working with Elle was amazing because she's such a, you know, she's quite young, but she's an amazing director. And so she was able to really help me find my character. I didn't even know what the hell that means until I started working with her, you know, and so, yeah, C.E.S. was a really awesome opportunity for me to just get out there and just do something. and now I'm trying to get into film school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you're actually in a band too, aren't you? So the whole stage fright thing, you're really putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I used to hide behind the Marshall cabs when we'd play live.
Really?
It was really bad. People used to be like, what the F are you doing?
Do you think it's because, like, I found too when I was at uni, I did a bit of acting in theatre and I found that to be fine. But then I went on radio and I'm like, even though there's no people visibly in front of me, I freaked out because I'm like, well, I actually have to be me. Like, there's no character I can hide behind anymore.
Yeah.
And that kind of freaked the hell out of me.
Well, on screen, it's like the camera's right there.
Yeah.
It's looking at you. It's like there.
It's like,
you know.
hello.
But
how
on
you doing?
theatre, you can be absolutely ridiculous, and so it's really different.
Yeah.
And you can see a little bit of my confusion in my character, my fairy godmother character. You know, yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
that's a pretty tough gift to kind of jump into, I guess, first up. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Cool. You haven't seen it yet, Ginny?
No, well, you guys didn't invite me, though. So, you know, it's cool. I'll get it on DVD.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, I missed it out.
It's not our props, yo.
Now, over to you, Michelle. Tell us about the role that you play on CES.
I had a small role in the film. I was the sillier of the two.
The sillier of the two.
Very silly.
Silly how? Silly funny or silly crazy or silly whack?
Silly, like, a little bit like stupid, more or less. So basically me on a normal day.
Yeah. No acting required over here.
No, all
She was
normal.
completely natural.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was a stepsister,
Okay.
so that was fun. That was fun in itself.
Now, you're quite the talented singer, I hear. So I'm going to ask you to do an a cappella version for me. Now, you knew this was coming. You knew. As soon as you said the word singer, I was like, yo, I need a live performance of something.
She's a singer too, just saying.
Maybe you could join in too.
Thank
Can you give me like a 10-second snippet of No Diggity? Go.
Sure to get down, good lord. Baby got him open all over town. Strictly bitch, you don't play around. Cover much ground, got game by the pound. Getting paid is a forte, each and every day. True play away, can't get her out of my mind.
Ow!
Think about the girl all the time. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I gotta bag it up, baby. I like the way you work it, no diggity. I gotta bag it up.
Fantastic! That's awesome. That was a little bit more than 10 seconds, but we will call that.
I'll count next
it's 10 seconds in movie land, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it was awesome.
It can be edited.
It can be edited into no dig. That's it.
That's pretty much. Nuh-uh. Is that it? Okay.
It's over.
Pretty much.
Now tell me, Michelle, what's your acting background?
I've worked with Elle previously on her first film, her little baby, called Talon. That was fun.
It was porn.
It was what?
Nothing.
I heard it was Spawn.
It was Spawn.
Spawn.
Yep.
The spawn of...
Dude, I heard it was Spawn. Don't worry.
Sheri's just taking this to a whole new level. I think you need to be on a different channel.
This is why Sheri didn't audition for the first one.
Exactly. Oh, wow. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, Talon was your first film with Elle?
It was, and we actually went to Wonthaggi for the week.
Wonthaggi?
Yeah.
Down to the one. I don't know where that is.
Neither do I.
Okay.
And I've been there.
Don't you love
No
films?
idea.
They just drive you out in the middle of nowhere and you learn about
No,
geography.
it was the middle of nowhere. It's like, we're going to shoot in this barnyard thing with absolutely nothing behind us. And it's like, oh, okay, so, you know, rape and pillage all we want out there, apparently. Oh, Jesus.
I don't know why I did an audition.
You should have auditioned. You would have been perfect for it. But, no, it was good. I was used to Elle, and, like, we've obviously got our own dynamic, so whatever she says has to happen. She's a director, boss, that's it, hands down. So it was really quick. Getting all the scenes and everything out was, like, just timing was everything, and it was perfect, spot on. I think there was more people this time to help her, whereas Talon was very new, and it was her first film, so it was very like, what do I do? Where am I going? But we still managed to smash out the scenes, so yeah, C.E.S. was very professional, very well done. I give her many kudos for that.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see you two crazies in CES when I get the DVD. Make sure you check out CES Cinderella. I forgot it.
Yeah. Ginny, I'm leaving.
CES film, check it out. It's on DVD available. This has been Ginny on Entirely Powered by Ginny.
Thanks for keeping us real, Ginny. Well, that's all we have time for, but as always, check out benttv.org.au if you need a bent fix before we're back next week. Bye for now.
Bye.